Hi, everyone. I'm just calling. Pause recording. Stop recording. This is just another way of thinking about what are we doing when we make these fantastic analysis paragraphs. We're always thinking about extracting an idea from a text. Yeah, Mom.
I've got to get her.
Uh-oh. Got to stop here. Duty calls.
Could you come over here and look down and get the?
Yes, yes. Try this one more time. When we're thinking about an analysis paragraph, there's a couple of ways of looking at it, and you've seen examples, and you'll see some slides that break it down, examples that break it down. They all look a little different because they're original, and they're words, and it's word order, and it's your word order, and it's your idea about the idea. A good analysis relies on, and we're looking at a document called Say, Mean, Matter. You have to extract an idea from a text. You can't just go around and around generalizing the main sort of idea of the whole thing. It just gets a little swirly and boring. And initially, you have to integrate that idea in a topic sentence using paraphrase and direct quotation, beginning with a transitional phrase. And the next thing you do is you bring your own comparisons, objections, examples, analogies, or outside source comparisons to examine this idea. So another way of looking at this, if it helps you, is what does it say? What does it mean? A little context. What does it matter? What's your analysis? So, and here it is, I'm saying it again. So don't be worried that I'm saying the same thing over, but in slightly different ways, because everybody, gets it at a different moment, and you have to integrate it with your own practice of it. So here is an example of what does it say? What does it mean? What does it matter? Based on Cherry Turkle. And the bold indicates, and I want you to look at the bold language, it's echoes, okay? So those words are echoed throughout, and they have the effect of creating cohesion. If you find that you have not repeated a single word or used a synonym for the word that is the main idea of your paragraph, perhaps you've strayed off track. So you do want to make sure that you use the language to scoop it up and connect it, several times in the paragraph, and then most likely at the end. So here are some common errors. A quote that doesn't quite belong. These are things I'm going to tell you again and again. The stranded this. This means something. Usually it means you've collapsed mentally. I don't want to say what the this is. I don't want to rephrase it one more time in yet better language, but that's what you have to do. Sorry. And another common error is generalized pontificating. Or, and I love this, but I hate this, when you're telling us, well, we should all, come together and do the right thing and, be for introverts, and it's kind of a pep talk or a rally of some kind. So that's okay probably at the conclusion in moderation, but if it goes on too long, or if it's throughout, or if it's trying to pass itself off as analysis, then we're in trouble. So one other common error, which you've probably heard or seen on some of these documents that is a real issue, is using you too much. It's okay to use I here and there. I think, I believe, or I have found, or I came across. That doesn't seem to cause the same kind of tone diminishment. Academic tone requires that you kind of stay on the high road, on the more articulate road. And when too many yous get in there, it becomes a little difficult to stay on that high road. So let's just try to eradicate use as a dominant rhetorical style. Means I'm not going to say you can never use them. It's just that, they have a place, and it's probably more towards the conclusion or maybe the introduction, not for academic analysis usually. And then the last thing we'll talk about, common errors, is gaps in logic. So, and I say this to you, that some of you are assuming that because I'm familiar with the text, which I am, that you don't have to explain it. But remember, the measure is explaining it to someone who hasn't read it. So I'm playing the role of a newcomer, which I'm very practiced at doing. So because I know the text, that doesn't stop me from realizing what that sounds like to someone who doesn't know the text. So you do have to do sort of the legwork of making it clear to someone who doesn't know. And a real common thing in writing is when you think people are kind of in your head with you. Remember, what you write on the page, it isn't always the same as what was in your mind at the time. And that's kind of the process of going back and forth to sort of align those two things. And it takes a lot of revision usually. Surely for me, whenever you look at these documents I'm making for you, I'm revising them quite a bit because I'm trying to kind of get at the best possible version of what I'm trying to convey. And that is what you should be trying to do too. So then I say to you, be real, because it is easier if you're really honestly trying to think something through, from the ground up. What is the best solution to this? What sort of a problem is this? What can I think about this? How can I contribute? If you're really doing it, the words kind of find their way. If you're trying to fill in or something like that space, it doesn't usually go so well. So be real. Okay, so that is, what does it say? What does it mean? What does it matter? Which is just another way of breaking down a paragraph that analyzes an idea in a essay, or a short or long essay. Could be your research paper, could be your these first two essays, either one.